Hello and welcome to NewFilmmakers Los Angeles in partnership with Movie Maker magazine. My name is Danny DeLillo and we're here at the South Park Center. I'm here with Michael with his movie, First Position. Let's take a look at the clip.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Zachary, I told you this.
Don't touch me!
Again.
Michael, thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me. This is amazing.
And congratulations on your film. I was in tears.
Oh no!
So
well,
powerful.
I guess that's good. An emotional response.
It was and it was those tears that basically fell without me wanting them to fall. So you got me. It was emotional and wonderful. But for those that haven't seen it, tell us a brief synopsis of your film.
Well, the film is about Zachary Campbell. He's a young aspiring dancer that moves to San Francisco in the 1980s, which also happens to be the height of the AIDS crisis, and when there was a bunch of hysteria and panic. And the story is kind of about how he catches the disease, but not really focusing on that. It shows how the disease kind of affects him as a dancer and kind of how his dreams kind of get put through the ringer.
Yeah.
Not just his dreams, but his personal relationships as well.
Yeah. It is so powerful and so moving.
Thank you.
Because, you know, this is just one example of many, many people that had to go through this before, you know, many of us were born. And I don't think, A, we should never forget that, but B, I think sometimes what I love the way you made this film is you made the humanity the focus part. It was about him, his dreams, his goals. It was him coping with this horrible thing, but it wasn't about that, it was about him. And that was almost more emotional because you really felt for his character, the person. Of course, we all know about this horrible thing that really took over in the 80s, but where did the inspiration come for you in creating this particular project?
Yeah, so it was my thesis project at UCLA. I was a grad student at UCLA, and my research was kind of the relationship between dance and cinematography and how body movement can manipulate camera movement and how that can evoke a certain emotional response. So I wanted to research how to convey emotion to an audience through dance. I was a cinematographer because my sister was a dancer, or is a dancer, and I always grew up filming her and kind of figuring out how I could film her in a way that could evoke an emotional response from people watching it, even at a young age. So using that, and then also being a part of the LGBT community, I wanted to tell a story, but also learn about an experience that I didn't get to live through, but is so kind of important and vital in our history.
Right.
So kind of merging those two worlds and finding something that took it, like, I don't know, just to see an artist go through something so personal and kind of reflect that in my own journey.
I can't believe this is your thesis film. Like, I'm just like, looks like your 50th film or something. Like, I really can't. And I mean, it's so sweet you used to film your sister.
Yeah.
That's so wonderful. what a talented group you are. But you, obviously the cinematography was brilliant. Like, so this film is obviously set in 1982. And you literally took me to 1982 in the first shot. So explain a bit about obviously you're a great cinematographer, but explain about how you decided to film this particular piece and kind of keep it in that period.
I think our main question that we had in pre-production was if we were going to shoot it on film or not. Film, I prefer it because it's beautiful, it's the tone, the texture and all that stuff, but a lot of our research and inspiration came from archival photos of the Castro and pictures of the disease and like news reports, and it all had kind of this old texture and quality to it, and I didn't want to shoot it digitally with these sharp lenses and have it look super upfront and personal. I wanted it to feel like not found footage, but something that had aged. Something that didn't feel current, because I wanted the current emotion to come through with the acting and the dance. And, so yeah, I hope that answered your question.
It did. No, it definitely did. And you know what was really wonderful as well was that I honestly, when I watched this film, I thought, oh, this must have come from someone that lived in this period, you know? And I'm like, I meet you and I'm like, you're a really young guy. Like, you're a young guy and you made this film.
I'm holding on to it.
Yeah, keep holding on to it. I'm trying. But no, you're a young guy and you made this film about a very significant part in history, particularly, you know, for the LGBTQ community, and no one knew, and you did it at a period where nobody really knew what this was. But it was already beginning to, you know, sadly, get larger and larger and bigger. It was a difficult time, obviously, when you didn't know what it was. So I know you mentioned it briefly, but was that something you also wanted to sort of remind people, particularly younger people, that it was a very difficult time during that time, and this was, unfortunately, people were going through this day in, day out. So is that something that's important to you?
Yeah, no, I think just the LGBT history is immense, and there's so many things that happen. I think knowing a part of your history of your community is so important to finding out more about your own identity. And a lot of people that I know, including people back home, I'm from Alabama, like, it's just, there's certain things that they don't know about or they're unaware of because it doesn't affect them.
Yeah.
So I wanted to take something that was so important and so crucial and something that has to do with my identity and just kind of show it to the masses and show it to these people and show how it built a foundation for a community.
Yeah. What I loved, what was so incredible, is this film was told through dance. Obviously, you've got a fantastic sister who's a dancer, which is wonderful, but it was I think it was even more moving, the fact that you took it from the character's journey and what he was experiencing and his relationships, and then expressed this, how all the emotions that he was feeling from going through this through dance. And it was so wonderfully choreographed, and it was just a very dreamy journey, and you just felt so hard for him going through this when all he wanted to do was be a ballet dancer. So obviously the way you started this film, you said that you said to me last night actually at the event, is that you wanted to really take his journey rather than the journey of the disease.
Yes.
Is that was important to you?
Yeah, we early on in the script and writing it, we had talked about not giving power to the disease. We didn't want the film to be necessarily about AIDS. We wanted it to be about a person's, like, what they live for, and having it being slowly taken away from them without a choice, and it actually being their own body that's betraying them. But we didn't want to give power to the disease by giving it a name. The only time you hear the word AIDS or anything to do with the sickness is through news reports in the background, or kind of like subtext and stuff like that. So yeah, we just didn't want to give power to something when it already had so much effect on the human body.
Exactly. Now, your characters were fantastic. You know, it was almost like, I forgot there was acting there. It was really real. Like, it was so real, you almost imagine this was just a real conversation. So how is the casting process for you?
Me and a good friend of mine, James Tabik, who choreographed the entire film, all the pieces. I sat with him and my producer, Bailey Olmstead, and we kind of talked about what these characters needed to be, what level of dance they needed to be. And it started with the dance call. So we had all these people come in, and James taught them a combo. And then from the ones that we liked, we had them read and do chemistry. And that's where we found Mark, who played Jamie. He was amazing, but we still couldn't find our Zachary. And I didn't want to just pick somebody just because it was like 2 weeks from shooting.
Right.
And then a friend of mine recommended Anthony Sorrells, who plays Zachary. And he came in and sent me a video of him rehearsing, dancing. And we're still like best friends to this day.
Oh,
but
great.
He came in and we immediately vibed, and he understood the story and the history, and we had hours of conversations about kind of the history of our community and what this meant. So yeah, it was a very simple casting process, one of the easiest I've done.
The casting was perfect. It was almost too real for me, because I felt like I was there with them, and that was even more brilliant. How was that process for you?
So me and my good friend James Tabik, who choreographed the entire piece, we sat down together with my producer Bailey Olmstead, and we talked about what each character needed to be, the level of experience they needed to have, and also, I know we talked about it last night, the authenticity, like bringing that to each character. So James choreographed a combo when he brought in all these people that for a dance call. And then from those, we picked certain people to do chemistry readings and trying to figure that out. We couldn't find our Zachary, but we found our Jamie, Mark Wax, who was incredible. And then I didn't want to kind of settle on someone just because we were 2 weeks out from filming, and I still didn't feel like we had found our Zachary. And James looked me in the eye and said, take the weekend, it'll come to you. I said, okay. And like clockwork, someone texted me, Anthony Sorrells, who plays Zachary. They texted me his name, and I had him come in for a last-minute reading, and then he sent me a video of him doing a dance rehearsal, and we just immediately clicked. He's still one of my good friends to this day.
I love it.
We talked for hours about like the history of our community and the history of that time, and bringing authenticity to the character and what the character kind of represented for not just himself, but for so many other people. Went through it.
I mean, both of them did a fantastic job. But one thing I really loved about it, and I don't want to give anything away, but it's
Spoiler alert.
No spoilers, shh. Put your fingers in your ears. But one thing I loved was I felt like the dance was the winner. You know what I mean? It made me feel that way, and it just made me curious. Of course, you wanted to have this as a testament to the community, but what did you want your audience to take from your film?
I guess for me, one of the biggest reasons I made the film was I wanted to show someone that loves their art so much that they would die for it. Whether that be forced or they get to live a long life, but knowing that that is the reason they're living.
Yeah.
And I wanted to show that throughout the film, that his priority is his craft and his art.
Yeah.
And that's why at the end, I don't want to give anything away, but I'll give it away.
Yeah.
In the finale, it feels triumphant. It feels overcoming. We know what the future is going to hold for this character, but in this moment, he's perfect.
Yeah. When you watch this film, you're going to need to have Kleenex with you. That's all I'm saying. Just saying. How was your experience at New Filmmakers Los Angeles? How was it having your film on the big screen? Did you have a good time?
Yeah, I always love screenings. I love getting to network with different people, and my main goal with the film is for it to be seen and to have people take it in and have an emotional response to it, and then talk to me about it. And I think that was my main goal, is just to have a story, and I think New Filmmakers was awesome. It was a great event, and I got to meet so many different people. Good,
that's what was good. And what is next for you?
Right now, I primarily am a cinematographer. I direct when I can. I love it, but I love shooting. So right now, it's just shooting a few films and also trying to make plans for a feature for this. I'd love to make a feature with it someday. Well,
as a cinematographer, and I would love for you to make a feature about this. So we've never done this on camera before.
Okay.
We normally do this at the events, but basically a jury pick a film that they think for whatever reason has got something that they'd like to support and add. And so on behalf of Camera Division, we are giving you a certificate, which is for camera equipment up to $750 to make your next film. So hopefully that will go towards your feature.
Thank you.
And there you go.
Oh my God, thank you so much.
So that will hopefully help you get close to the feature. And as a cinematographer, I'm sure you'd appreciate going to the camera division, because it's basically like a Toys R Us for you.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, so
I'll be prancing around in there. I'll be dancing in there, yeah.
So go and have a good time there. They're really good people. And thank you for your film. And just finally, for any filmmakers out there that want to follow in your footsteps, particularly if you're you obviously just a student and you've done your thesis film, is there anything that you go by or maybe have learned that you go as a filmmaker that you could maybe share with our audience?
If I have to tell other people, it's just collaborate. Just film is not meant for one person, it's meant for the masses. It's meant to be seen and worked on by so many different people, and I think, especially with my film, letting it go into the hands of so many people through the process of making it made it so much better. So just collaborate and find those people that you work with. It'll change your life.
There you go. Thank you very much, Michael. Thank you very much for First Position, and we're looking forward to seeing much more of your work. So thank you very much.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you, Michael, everybody.
Thank you.